up for the tour ahead of time, so we'll have enough guides to show off our units. If you have any questions, I'll be available at the conclusion of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. We next have the Architectural Control Committee report. Doug? Oh, Sam, you're going to do it?
Yes.
Okay.
The Architectural Controls Committee summary for the month of June. Miscellaneous approvals, which include changes to established homes. Through June of 2020, there's been 916. That compares to 869 through June of 2019. New homes approved through June of 2020 is 39. Through June of 2019 was 48. New homes started, including manufactured homes, through June of 2020 is 42, and through June 2019 is 50. New homes completed through June of 2020 is 50, and through 2019 is 39. Is there any questions? Thank you.
Thanks, Sam. Next item on the agenda is the monthly financial report. Denise?
Don't break it. Good morning.
There we go.
This morning, I'm going to give you some highlights of our financial report for year-to-date June. But I will remind you that the full set of financials is on the website for you to look at. And also, we completed our 2019 audit, and we did receive a clean opinion, and that is also on the website for you to look at if you choose. So to start, we'll look at the balance sheet, and the club is still very strong. Sewer cash is at $2.7 million, property, plant, and equipment at $10.8 million, and equity at $13.3 million. POA and amenities, the capital cash is at $2 million, operating cash at $2.1 million, property, plant, and equipment at $36 million, and equity at $36 million. Drop down and we'll look at the income statement and cash flow. So for POA and amenities combined, the operating overall results are negative $357,000. That's a positive variance to budget of $479,000, which is $633,000 below where we were at this time last year. And that's due to the COVID-19. The capital, for net capital income, it's positive $1.5 million. That's a positive variance to budget of $19,000. And that's mainly due to interest income that we are receiving from investments of our capital funds. Total cash flow is negative $635,000, and that includes capital income, capital expenditures, and debt service. For POA, results from operating activities are positive $884,000, and that's a positive variance to budget of $1.2 million. And this is mainly due to the decision not to do road paving this year or lake desilting, and also good savings in our labor benefits. Net cash flow is positive $2.2 million. For amenities, the results from operating activities are negative $1.2 million. That's a negative variance to budget of $701,000. This is caused by the drop in golf revenue of $1.2 million less than budget, and the food and beverage sales are down $477,000 less than budget. And that's, of course, due to golf being closed. Net cash flow is negative $2.9 and for the period, and $1.6 million from capital, and $1.2 million from operations. So the two combined make the 2.9. Golf is negative $734,000. That's a negative variance to budget of $624,000. Food and beverage is negative $357,000. That's a negative variance to budget of $129,000. And CCC and the recreation is negative $241,000. That's a positive variance to budget, though, of $41,000. For sewer, results from operations are positive $431,000. a $49,000 positive variance to budget. And this is due to, mainly due to a decrease in equipment and project installation materials. His grinder installs are a little bit down this year, but they're starting to pick up again. Net capital income is positive, $117,000. That's a negative variance to budget of $122,000, and that's due to lower than expected sewer availability and capacity fees. And this appears to be from the uncertainty of the COVID pandemic that there's fewer home starts. So net cash flow after capital expenditures for sewer is positive $406,000. Any questions? No? Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. And at this point, the Treasurer, Bruce Cox, is going to provide some comments.
Yeah, let me start with congratulating Denise and her staff on the clean audit for 2019. That takes a lot of hard work, and having a clean audit is commendable for her and her staff. So, my report, the sewer department continues to operate normally. We started the year with $2.2 million of cash, and we ended June with $2.7 million of cash. The results for the first 6 months are actually better than expected, and we don't foresee any issues going forward. POA operations continue to be a challenge. The good news is that June results were better, with increased rounds of golf and diners at Stonehenge Grill, reflecting an increase of activity from our residents and our visitors. However, amenity revenues were still $150,000 below budget in June, bringing our year-to-date amenity revenues total to $1.9 million below budget. We began the year with $1.9 million in operating cash, which excludes capital, because we account for capital in a separate for the CNRs. At the end of June, we had $2.1 million operating cash, which is an increase of $450,000 from May. We've taken significant actions, as Denise mentioned, including the canceling of the desilting project and the road paving. Labor continues to be one of our largest expenses. Currently, we have 393 active employees, 2 regular employees on leave, 23 regular employees on furlough, and 6 seasonal employees who have not been recalled. Our labor costs in June were $47,500 positive compared to budget, bringing our labor costs through June to $477,000 positive compared to budget. That's about $500,000 of positive variation in labor costs. The senior managers continue to focus on cost reductions in operations while continuing to provide good services to our members and guests. Some additional examples I wanted to share of managing costs include reducing advertising and marketing costs, reducing the number of road mowing cuts per month, savings in chemical, fertilizer, and seed expenditures, and savings in office supplies. These may sound like small dollars, but after you control the labor cost and eliminate the 2 major projects we had, additional savings have to be accomplished in numerous small savings, which add up to significant savings. The departments are going to continue to monitor their expenses and only do what we're absolutely necessary to do and postpone any discretionary spending. In summary, at this point, we're in a positive cash position, and we'll continue to monitor our income and expenses on a regular basis. We look forward to a second half of the year revenue results being closer to budget, which will help us combat the loss of revenue we experienced earlier in the year. So I'm cautiously optimistic about where we're headed.
Thank you, Bruce. Now we're going to have a presentation on the Racket Center renovation project, and Dave Miser is here from the Major Capital Projects Committee, and Bruce Horn is here from the Racket Sports Committee.
Let me kick this off. My 2 distinguished gentlemen will follow me up here. This is a renovation project over here, and you can come up and look at this later. You can see the profile of the building or what it's going to be, and then how the interior layout is. These gentlemen have worked hard on this, and so what I want to do is have Bruce start off talking about the process they've gone through to get to this point, and then Dave, who is the point person for Major Capital Projects, will discuss the project itself, and then we'll take any questions after they've made their presentation. So, Bruce.
Thank you, Bruce. Let me get out of the way here so you can see the layout that we finally have coming to fruition. A little background on this. We started hearing about upgrades and improvements almost 4 years ago, at the end of 2016. And by April, after the new pickleball courts were installed in 2017, we really started to reach out to the playing community and get input on what they wanted to see, what all of us wanted to see in this improvement process. Well, this improvement process went from improvement to upgrade to renovation to replacement to new building. And that's taken 3 years to get us there. We've had a lot of input. We started 3 years ago, literally, reaching out to the community to get input on what we wanted to see. A lot of it started out with things like landscaping and storage and upgrades to the inside to make it look better. Well, that evolved with the changing desires of the community. And we took all of that into consideration, and we had some vigorous debate in the community and explanation to reach out to some of the people that saw the original master plan. When we saw that, everybody got excited. A lot of people didn't understand, not a lot, that's not fair. A number of people came to us and say, why are we doing all of this? And we had to explain to them, this may or may not come to pass. This is a concept drawing of whatever it is we would like to have. And the organization that put that together gave us a beautiful wish list, and we could pick and choose what we wanted. Well, we worked, again, updating the input from the community, going and explaining to people that it was a concept plan, that we were not necessarily going to build everything on there. Well, 2 years later, we started working with, in April of 2018 is when we got serious with this whole concept of replacement building. And we had to come up with a wish list for the community. We got that. And then we started working with, now I want to get the date right on this, because our first meeting with the Capital Projects Committee was wonderful. They sat with us, listened to what we had to say, what we wanted. They held our feet to the fire to give us a set of specifications of what we wanted to see. And as everybody has told in the reports that we've heard, bathrooms are always a big deal. And the price range on all of this stuff varied wildly, and Bruce can speak to that. But working with Dave's group, well, that whole group was absolutely wonderful, because it was a group of people that have expertise well beyond our pay grade and helped us understand what was possible, what was doable, and what made sense. And we met with them every single month, and sometimes in between, when Dave and his group found things that we didn't know. Every time these guys got into and started looking at what was really going on with the old building and what was possible with the new building, we learned so much more. And through that year and a half, these guys made sure that to check in with us and see what the impact was on our desires for the community, the playing community. Because our responsibility in the RSC is to get more people to use these facilities. And we had a lot of people that had very strong opinions on what we wanted to see. So we worked with these guys, and they gave us literally, and I mean literally, everything that had come up from the beginning of the must-haves and found ways to make it happen while at the same time saving money for this community. So I couldn't be more pleased to see that we have the ability to work across committees and across the community to build things that everybody wants. There was no big loss for anybody on this. There were some compromises, but everybody got everything that they wanted. And here we are today with this beautiful plan. And thanks to Dave and his crew.
I remember that first meeting that Bruce referred to in talking about the needs. And I remember several of us on our committee going over to the Racket Center right after that meeting and saying, we have multiple levels in this building. We have ramps. One of the plans was to put an elevator in. And we're saying, why? Why not put everything on one level? And so that was our first contribution to the project, if you will, is let's eliminate ramps, let's eliminate elevators, and put everything on one level. And so that's what we ended up with. And so after many iterations, what you see before you is what, working with Bruce and his group, our committee, and working with the architect, we've got a building that's going to be about 85% in usable space, larger than what we currently have. It's going to extend all the way across the face of the indoor court building. And so we're going to be close to the pickleball courts on this end, close to the clay courts on tennis courts on that end. So we will have restrooms at the very end of the building that the racquetball people can use. We'll have distinctive social gathering areas and apparel areas, and the required offices. There'll still be a kitchen of sorts. And in addition to that, this is the old original check-in building. What you see now in front of the court building was not there originally. So we're going to upgrade that by making the restrooms handicapped accessible, which currently they are not. So if you look at the elevation, we're going to upgrade that to similar to Dorchester, stacked stone, hardy board siding, and a metal roof. And then we will also upgrade the facade of this building to tie in. So that's basically it.
Question?
I am the board liaison to the Major Capital Projects Committee, and Ken is the liaison to the tennis or the Racket Sports Committee. And I know we're both very proud of the fact that this project was put together by our residents who use the facility, which is to me, a great step. Plus, we used our in-house engineering intelligence here, for which we don't pay anything for, by the way, except thank yous. But this is the first time we've had a joint effort between the residents of the using the facility and residents engineering-wise to put this together. So, yeah, as Dave said, we'll answer any questions you might have about it. I'll toss the technical stuff over here. Any questions about this? Yes. How many square feet is the building, Dave?
I knew somebody was going to ask that question. And it's a little over 2,000. I don't remember the exact number.
It actually has changed in various various phases of this, from this size to that size, so I'm sure that's why he can't actually stick the number on it. Any other questions? That's a good question. Right now, you're going to hear in a minute, we're going to approve a PR for $15,000 to get construction drawings so we can actually go out and get a firm price. Once we get that, then we'll bring a PR hopefully in September or October to the board to approve the project. And once we have that, then we'll get with the contractor. And my guess is that we'll do some preliminary work later this year. Most of the work is going to go into 2021. Okay, thank you all. Thanks, guys.
The next item on the agenda this morning is unfinished business, and we have nothing on the docket there. Next item is new business, and we have two items. The first one is a purchase requisition for some new golf course restrooms, and Jeff is going to walk us through that PR.
You want to fix the mic for me? I'm here to request $150,000 for 3 restrooms, one at Dorchester, which we're replacing the restroom that is at number 6 tee box, and then we're replacing the 2 restrooms on Druid Hills. They'll all be the same style of shelter restroom that we have at the back of Dorchester and also on the Crag and the Bray courses, where you'll be able to go to both restrooms, or also you could seek shelter under some covered area there. The restroom at Dorchester will be in the same location. The restroom on the front side of Druid Hills, we're going to move that to be next to the green on number 4. It'll be accessible from the cul-de-sac for our cleaning crew. Currently, our cleaning crew has to drive down the cart path against play to get to that bathroom, so we're going to move it. It'll also be on sewer there. We're going to leave the restroom on number 14 at the same location that it is now. I like where it's at. It's sort of hidden from the trees and everything, and it's accessible, easily accessible for the golfers. The majority of the work is going to be done by local contractor Grady Pelfrey, with some great assistance from Greg Rippert, who's Sam's maintenance supervisor. Greg will be doing a lot of the work with Grady and saving us a lot of money. We hope to come in just a little under $50,000 a piece for each restroom.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. Are there any questions or comments from members of the board? Okay, then may I have a motion to go ahead and approve the PR for $150,000 for the Druid Hills and Dorchester restrooms?
I so move.
I second.
Okay. Is there any discussion from the board? All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? The PR for the Druid Hills and Dorchester restrooms in $150,000 is approved. Jeff?
Thank you.
The second item under new business is the Racket Center renovation. This is for the additional drawings for construction. And Bruce, you were going to introduce that?
Yeah, as I said earlier, we need this $15,000 to get the final construction drawing so we can go out to the contractor and get firm prices on what we're going to do. So then that allows us then to put the PR together.
Okay, may I have a motion to approve the PR for the $15,000 for the Racket Center construction drawings?
Yeah, I so move.
Okay, is there a second?